All right, guys, welcome to another week of the Relaxing Fertility Yoga sponsored by the Fertility Partnership. So my name is Julie and thank you all for coming this week. Some of you have been here before and I think others of you, this might be your first time here. So just to tell you a little bit, every class that we do is different, but these are classes for both men and women. So that being said, if you are a woman currently in some of the IVF treatments, know that this class is safe for you. We avoid things like twists and inversions and core work, anything that is seen as contraindicated in that physical IVF process. And we also do things that are considered or believed to be beneficial for fertility. Every week we do a different class though. So some weeks we might focus more on doing certain things for the body than other weeks. And I thought actually this week, tonight, I thought maybe we'd focus a bit on the lower back. So I've had a lot of people say to me lately that they have sore lower backs, and there is some indication that chronic pain is also related to how we might be emotionally feeling. And we actually can see it as a cultural phenomenon as well. So if you think back, probably before most of us were born. So if you think back 40 plus years ago, there were people always getting ulcers because of stress. Ulcers was like the thing. But people don't really get ulcers as much anymore. We don't hear about it in the same way. And yet we often hear a lot about lower back pain. And one of the things that I think lower back pain also can signify is a feeling of not being supported. And that can be in so many ways. It doesn't necessarily mean by your partner or your family, though of course it could, but it might be by your culture, your society, your work. It could be so many things. So today we are going to look at the lower back and just doing some really nice things that can help to stretch it out and strengthen it a bit. And then of course we'll do things for the hips because the lower back and the hips are so deeply related, and the hips are also very related to fertility. Or again, theoretically. So we want to just explore this idea of, again, opening and strengthening this part of the body. And sometimes, I'm going to stop talking in just a second, but sometimes that can be really emotional. So if at any point you ever, and whether it's this class or any other yoga or stretching opening class, if you ever feel emotional, just let yourself. So if you ever feel like you're going to cry, just cry. Let it out. It's so much better out than in. So if that happens, know that that can be a very normal response to yoga. Okay. And then the last thing to say is that I do have 2 dogs and 2 cats. And last week, the 2 dogs put on quite a show for anyone who was here then. Oh my God. And who knows what they'll do this week, but I'm glad that so many of you seem to enjoy that last week rather than be deterred by it. So yeah, we'll see. So let's start. We're going to start with the centering and breathing and then move into some warm-ups and then start doing those, again, those hip and back openers. So to begin, you always have 2 options. You can either sit up tall or you can lie down. And if you've been working all day at a desk, lie down, give your back and give your hips a break. Actually, think about it that way. What would make your back and hips happiest right now? Would they be happier to sit, which they might, or would they be happier to lie down? Okay. And if you do lie down, you always have two options here as well. So if you're lying down, you can bend your knees, placing your feet on the floor, and that's easier if you do have lower back sensitivities. Or you can just extend the legs out and let them flop and splay if that feels better to you. And if you're sitting, just try to sit up nice and tall, either on the floor or on a cushion or a prop. And then whether you're sitting or lying down, take a few rolls of the shoulders. So you're going to inhale and roll the shoulders up and exhale them down and back. And again. And one more. And just relax your hands either facing up or down. Close your eyes. And take a few deep inhales through the nose, with exhales sighing or blowing the air out of the mouth.
Flour and oats in there. I think just went to your food. Oats, couscous, flour and flour. Nice note. Does I say?
And then once you've sighed out a few times, just come back to the natural rhythm of your breath. And start to notice your breath. Notice where it lands in the body. And whatever you notice in this practice today, I just want to invite you to be aware of it without judgment. So there's no need to label anything as good or bad. It all just is. It's all just part of your experience of being here right now. And then start to actively deepen the breath now. So we're going to inhale through the nose. Take the breath down into the belly so that the belly rises with the inhale. Exhale out the nose and feel the belly fall. So we inhale, belly rises. Exhale, belly falls, using the diaphragm to breathe. And then deepen the breath further. Inhale through the nose, fill up, belly, ribs, chest, expanding all the way up through the inhale. Exhale out the nose, chest, ribs, and belly contract. So those of you who have been here before, you'll know that this 3-part breath is known as a Dirga breath. So you can try to stay with that breath. Or if you're a little more experienced, you could come into an ujjayi or an ocean wave sounding breath by constricting in your epiglottis at the back of the throat. But if you don't know what that is, don't worry about it. Just keep breathing deeply right now. So again, we inhale and we fill up. And we exhale and slowly release. And just take a few more breaths here like this and try to really drop into breathing here now. Just being with this moment, with your breath exactly as it is. And start to mentally ready yourself for movement. And just in your own time, in your own way, start to draw some movement back into your body. Just letting yourself stretch, roll around, yawn, sigh. Just do whatever feels good to you. So again, just starting to draw some movement in. And then I'd actually like you to bring yourself to a tabletop position. So, but take your time. So we are going to bring ourselves so that we are on hands and knees. Okay. And when you come up onto hands and knees, a couple things I want to say here. We'll be on our hands and knees a little bit today. And so if your knees are sensitive to the floor underneath you, so if you've got a wood floor or a tile floor, or just any other type of floor that's causing your knees to kind of feel then I want you, very technical term that is, then I want you to put a little fold in your mat if you're using a mat and bring your knees onto the fold, or you can fold up a blanket or a towel instead and put those underneath your knees. It's just about supporting the bone of your knee and making sure it feels okay. So once you're ready, knees are in line with the hips and the wrists are in line with the shoulders, and we're going to spread the fingers nice and wide. And we're just going to start with a few standard cat cows or cat dogs. Oop, someone's trying to join. 1 second. Okay. Okay, so then we're going to inhale, arch the spine, roll the shoulders back, open up through the chest. So we drop down through the belly. Exhale, tuck the chin in towards your chest and round up. And again, inhale. Start to arch. Exhale, round. Again. Okay. And then take it back to a neutral tabletop. And then from here, I want you to start to roll your bottom back towards your right heel, around to the left, up and around to the other side. So we're just creating these circles and just have a play here. Find how this can feel good to your body. Okay. And then go the other way. Keep it going. Sorry, I just had to help my dog up onto the sofa. He's going to be 14 in May, and he's getting a little bit, I don't know. The vet and I are trying to figure out whether he's getting a bit of doggy dementia at night or if he's just having a problem with his hips and back. Hey, and we're doing hips and back yoga today. If only I could do it for him too. Okay. Okay, roll it back up to center. So you're going to come up into that tabletop here. And then I just want you to take your right leg and extend it back. We're going to do something, we've done this a few times before. So this is our hydrated dog. So we're going to bend that right knee and we're going to take it out to the side. Now it doesn't have to go all the way up. Usually we do that in a really strong movement, but it doesn't have to. So you can take it out, back, bend the knee out to the side, and you can just come up to the hip rather than all the way up to the shoulder. And then we take it down and we do just a couple more. I think we did these a few weeks ago. So this is, for your hip. And take one more. And then when next that leg comes back, hold it there. Someone else is joining. 1 second. There we go. Okay. So now with that right leg back behind you, it's a little bit of a tricky move, but I want you to keep that hip square to the floor. If you have a sensitive right wrist, make a fist with it on the ground. And I just want you to take your left arm and extend it out there and just really reach. We're not going to stay here too long, but you should straight away feel that into your lower back. Okay, take the leg and hand back down, roll your bottom back towards your heels, take a child's pose. So you're just going to bring your belly over your legs, forehead down, relax your arms, on side out. And then start to lift the head, lift the heart. And then you're going to come back up onto your hands and onto your knees. And then from here, same thing, just nice and easy to the other side. So we start by taking that left leg and extending it out. And then we're going to bend that left knee out to the side up towards the hip. And then we send it down and back. And just breathe, breathe, breathe. Take one more. And then when next you can, take that left leg back, square forward. So that hip squares to the floor. So rather than turn the hip up to the sky, keep it facing down toward the ground. And we pull up through the core and then we take that right arm out in front. And again, if your left hand or wrist are feeling a bit sensitive, make a fist there with that left hand instead. Okay, and I just want you to reach and lift, hold, but not your breath. So we breathe. One more breath here. You've got it. Exhale, take it all in. So then we come back into that tabletop. From here, rather than take a child's pose, we're going to take a puppy pose. So we come down onto our forearms, but the bottom stays up into the air. And then we walk the arms out, taking the chin or the forehead down to the ground. Forehead is more comfortable. And then we just get this lovely opening through the upper back and through the shoulders. Ugh. Okay. And then start to lift the head, lift the heart. And then from here, having wardrobe malfunctions, from here, you're going to start to walk yourself up so that you can sit up onto your shins. If sitting onto your shins is not comfortable for you, just unwind your legs and sit with your legs crossed. We're just really briefly going to do a little wrist warm up here. So again, sit how you need to sit. So there's no need to torture yourself if sitting like this doesn't feel good to you. Okay. And then from here, I just want you to make a fist with your right hand. And then you're going to take your left, either index or middle finger and thumb, bring them under the wrist bone and just gently start to pull down. And you can just turn that fist towards you actually. And then we're going to circle it around. You'll get a little clicking, a little cracking there. And go the other way. If going the other way doesn't feel good, just come back to the first way. That's okay. And then start to open the palm, take your first spin that way. Okay. And take it back up to center. And then I want you to pull down on the forearm. Spread your fingers wide. Inhale. And exhale over to the other side. So we make a fist and we pull down under the wrist bones and then we start to spin. So what this does is this helps to open up your carpals. So you might have heard of carpal tunnel syndrome. It's a type of repetitive strain injury. People can get it usually from being at a computer keyboard for a long time, but musicians also can be quite prone to this. So this is just a great exercise that you can do even a few minutes a day if you are someone that spends a lot of time at a keyboard. And again, you can play with the direction, but if one direction just doesn't feel right, I find that, then just keep going with the one that works. And then open the palm, give the palm a little spin. And take it back to center, and you're going to spread your fingers nice and wide. Inhale. And exhale, release. And you can just give your hands a shake out if you'd like. And then if you are sitting with your legs crossed, just take your, so if you're sitting with your legs crossed, just lift your arms up and take them out in front of you and then unwind your legs so that we all come back for a moment towards tabletop. And then we're going to push it back towards child's pose. So we're going to spread the fingers nice and wide out in front of us though. So we've got these two starfish that are suctioning the mat. And then we're going to roll it towards our hands, curl the toes under behind, and then roll your shoulders back. Once you're there, take a little walk of this downward facing dog. So you're walking the legs one and then the other, back and forth. And then I want you to push back into your full expression of a downward facing dog. So we're squeezing under the armpits. So rather than locking out that joint, I want you to imagine that you've got an orange underneath your armpit and you're just squeezing it there. And then you're going to inhale and lift your right leg straight up towards the sky. And then exhale, bend your right knee and point your right toes over towards the right side. So you're turning and opening up through that hip. So it's like there's a puppet string from your hip up to the sky. And then inhale, lift that right leg back up. And exhale, bend your right knee and you're going to take it in towards your chest and then float the foot out in front of you between your hands. And you can help the foot there, do whatever you need to do to get there. And then we're going to take the fingertips down to the ground, belly and chest on the inside of that right leg. Roll the shoulders back, open up through the chest. Oh, and then exhale, flatten your left hand out against the ground or make a fist with it. And then we're going to inhale, lift the right arm up to the sky and just follow that with your gaze. So it's a nice open twist. Open twists are fine. It's the deep twist that we want to avoid in here. Okay. And then exhale. Take that right hand, actually, I lied with the movement. Take the right hand, bring it to the right knee. Just gonna play for a moment with a little bit of strength. I want you to also then take the left hand up to that knee and then roll the shoulders back, open up through the chest. I realize I've just gone headless, but I assure you my head is still here, obviously. So we're going to open it up there. And then we're going to engage with the core and we're going to lift straight up here. Swing the arms up, stay there. I'm just going to not be headless. Okay. So we have that right knee in line with the ankle and then the arms are up. Just basic warrior one. And then exhale, going straight into a basic warrior two. I want you to turn that back foot out, take your right arm and send it out over your right leg. Make sure that that right knee is bent in line with the ankle. And from here, I'll turn to face you. So from here, we've got these lovely open hips. That back foot is somewhere between 45 and 90 degrees. Take another breath here. We're just keeping it really simple tonight. Most nights we keep it simple in here. Okay, now I want you to start to straighten that front foot out. And then you're going to turn. So now all of your toes are turning to the side of your mat if you're using a mat. And you might find that the back foot and the front foot aren't totally aligned, in which case just do a little maneuver so that you can bring it so it's as if your body is between two panes of glass here. And then I want you to square your toes forward, or if you have a sensitive lower back, then I want you to turn your big toes slightly in so they're pointing a little bit towards each other. And that's true anytime we're doing a forward fold, whether it's a wide angle fold or one where your feet are here. So even if we were doing a traditional, just straight up forward fold, turning your toes slightly in can be helpful if you have lower back sensitivities. Okay, so just one thing to file away. And then we're going to inhale, lift the arms. And exhale, fold. Hinge forward from your hips and just bow down. Hang the head, hang the heart. Take another breath here. And then I want you to press through your your feet. Try to shift the weight towards the middle of your feet, and you're going to lift your arms up into airplane. So your chest is coming parallel to the ground. You'll feel that stretch into the backs of the legs, and then reverse up to the sky. And then take your arms back to a T. Turn your right foot forward. So you're turning those right toes so that they're just pointing forward again. And we're just going to play a little bit with mobility. And the key word there is play. Okay, I just want you to play. So what we're going to do here is we're going to bend that knee. And then we're going to take the hands into prayer and turn it back out into warrior one. So you're turning on the back, out on the back foot there. So you're lifting that left heel back up towards the sky. And then we're just going to lean in to a little bit of a prayer, leaning in. And then we're going to start to turn the feet and take it around to the other side. And we can lift the arms up. So we come up into that high namaste, and then we take it down. And in fact, you don't even need to do the high namaste. You can skip that if it doesn't feel quite right. So you're just taking this back and forth. In fact, don't come up on the back one. It will be easier. So we just take it, warrior one. And then this time, rather than take it to warrior one, we just turn that back foot back a little bit and lean in. So it's a bit like a strange version of a lunge. Okay, take a couple more. We're just playing with mobility. One more. Sometimes I think if space aliens were watching us do yoga, like what would they be thinking? Okay, take it back through center, and then from here, lift your arms all the way up. You're on the ball of that back foot. Inhale, lift, and then exhale. I want you to take your hands back down towards the ground. And just take that right foot back, bend your knees, and then roll your bottom back towards your heels. Take a child's pose, Garbhasana. Now playing with the other side. We lift the head and the heart again. We spread the fingers nice and wide out in front of us. We roll up towards the hands, curl the toes under. Send your hips back, roll your shoulders back. And then going straight up with that left leg. Inhale. Exhale, bend the left knee, point the left toes over towards the right. And inhale, lift that left leg all the way back up through center. Exhale, bend the left knee, take the left foot forward. And again, we find our lunge. We take the fingertips down, roll the shoulders back. And then flatten that right hand against the ground or make a fist with it. Inhale, left arm swinging up. And then exhale, take the left hand to that left knee. Take your right hand also up onto that knee. And then I want you to roll the shoulders back, open up through the chest. You can feel that also in the hip flexor a bit here. So that beautiful traction up through the spine, like the spine is just this spring plant growing up. Okay, and then we engage with the core and we lift it up, sink the shoulders, warrior one, square forward, inhale. Exhale, take it straight out to warrior two. And then start to push that front foot back. And then again, we turn to face the side. And if you're feeling like you're a bit askew, like you're not between the two panes of glass, just adjust so that you are. And then let your arms drop down. Toes either squared forward or slightly pointed in again. And we roll the shoulders up and exhale them down and back. Interlace the fingers behind the back. Open up through the chest. Take an inhale here. And then exhale, hinge forward from the hips. Let those interlaced fingers just hang back and away from the lower back. Let the head hang heavy. And draw your hands back down towards your lower back. Push through your feet, unwind your fingers, and reverse the swan dive up to the sky. Take your arms back out to a T. Okay, and then we are going to turn those left toes forward again. And then we pivot around, take the hands into prayer. So we've got that right heel lifting up. And then you can just dip down. And then again, we're going to play with going up through the center and over to the other side. Again, just playing with a little bit of mobility in the hips and the lower back. A few more. Just make it your own. You might have a yoga practice already that you can just go a little wild with right now, or you might be totally new at this and be like, what the hell is this? It's all okay. Take two more. Okay, and then when next you take it down or back through that warrior one, swing your arms up. Exhale, hinge forward from the hips. Take the hands down. Take that front foot back, draw your knees down, uncurl your toes, and roll it back into a child's pose. Take another breath there. And then start to walk your hands back and then lean up towards your hands, curl your toes under behind you, enough that you can then gently push back into a squat. Okay. Now, a couple things to say about squats. So if you're able, you can take the soles of the feet flat, but not everyone is able to do that because either of tightness in the hips or because of the way that the foot is skeletally structured. And of course, you can't change that unless you break it. So don't do that. So if it doesn't feel right to you to be flat on your foot, then lift your heels up. Okay. And if this still feels a bit like it's a bit too much, then what you can do is you can prop the heels up with something. So if you have a couch cushion or a couple couch cushions, you can prop the heels up with those. If you have blocks or bolsters or other yoga props, you can prop the heels up with those as well. Sorry, I just thought I heard a voice. I was like, what is that? Okay. So yeah, I'm sure someone over there is like, the crazy yoga lady's hearing voices. Okay, so you're going to come into this squat either with your heels up or soles of the feet down. And then take your elbows, bring them to the insides of your knees. Draw your palms together. Roll your shoulders back. Open up through your chest. Try to, again, be that spring sprout growing up, because we can get really sad and hunched in here. And this is not nice really for any part of the body. So I want you to really lift it up. All right, and then gently start to take your hands down toward the ground, lean forward enough that you can very softly start to lift yourself up, but keep your knees soft. And then with soft knees, heel toe your feet towards each other. So your toes are squared forward. And then you're going to bend your knees and just curl into a little standing ball. And then inhale, start to roll your shoulders up. And bring yourself all the way up and back. So you're coming up to standing. Now, I think I might have just heard the car door, in which case it means that my partner is home. So my dogs might go a bit mental in just a moment. So if you hear the barking, it might, I think it's coming. Nope. Anyway, you'll hear it. Okay. So now I want to actually invite you to do something within your home. And you're going to have to be a little bit creative here about what you can do. And if you really don't have an option, then you can stay in a forward fold. So, okay, we're going to, thanks. We're going to, he's just managed to come into the house without the dogs freaking out. That was amazing. But he also just came in with sad news. One of our chickens has died. Okay. So yeah, we're going to take the feet, bring them to hip distance, square the toes forward, and take a nice big inhale, lift through the arms. And then exhale, swan dive, fold forward from the hips. And just hang the head, hang the arms, and really feel that stretch through the back of your body, from your heels all the way up to your neck. Just breathe there. And then start to bend your knees and slowly ragdoll your body all the way up. And then again, you're going to come all the way up to standing. Now, in a moment, you can come back into that previous pose if you can't find quite the right setup in your house. Otherwise, I'm going to ask you to do one stretch where you can use your house as a prop or different things in your house. And I'm going to show you a few different examples. You want something that's going to be sturdy, that isn't going to pull away from a wall, or like a chair that doesn't have any sort of support. You'll see what I mean. So what we're going to do is we're going to do this fantastic lower back stretch. And this is something I feel like kids do because kids are a lot better at just using things to stretch themselves. And what we do here, so I'm going to show you with a radiator. Be careful with a radiator, because if you put too much weight into it, you know the strength of things in your house. So what you can do is you're going to put your hands on something, and then you're going to take a few steps back from it and bend your knees, and then just really, send your body weight back, and you feel a little bit of strength in the quads, but you get this fantastic stretch, not only through the lower back, but also around the side of the armpit. You can do this in many ways. I'm going to show you two other ways of doing this. One is also with a door handle. So you can hold on to a door handle. Probably should have shown you this first, because actually you can see it a bit better. And you can just hold that and roll it back. Oh, it's such a nice stretch for the back. Final option is a couch. I mean, you can come up with lots of things, but if you take a couch arm, you can just hold yourself onto the edge of the couch and also lean back, or a heavy chair. But like I said, you don't want to do the back of like a dining chair, because then you'll just fall, obviously. Okay, so lots of ways of playing with that, and I hope that you enjoy it, and that this is something that you can also just play with, obviously outside of our time together. Okay. So wherever you're doing that stretch, just take another, I don't know, 3 breaths, hanging out with your back, with something in your house. And again, the shoulders are back, chest is slightly up, weight is really far back. Okay. And then once you have had a good go of that, just bring your feet or walk yourself back to your mat. And then again, take your feet to a hip distance stand. Just take a big inhale, lift through the arms. Oh, and exhale, swan dive. Hang the head, hang the arms. And then start to bend your knees. Bring yourself down into a little squat, and then either just gently fall onto your bottom or help yourself down onto your bottom. Okay. And then once you have come down, I want you to extend your legs out in front of you. Now, if when you do this, get this down. Oop. Just got a shock. Okay. If when you do this, you feel a couple things to say. If you feel really uncomfortable in your knees when you sit like this, you can fold up a little blanket or a couple of throw pillows and put those under your knees and just let them lift up a little. Likewise, if you feel like you're really being drawn back and it's a lot of effort to sit up, some people can just sit up here and they can sit here all day long. Others, this is really exhausting. So, and a lot of that, again, it has to do with tightness in the hip flexors, lower back tightness. So depending on if you feel like this, sit up onto something as well. So you can sit up onto a low cushion, you can fold up a towel or a blanket. If you have a bolster, a yoga prop, you can do that too. Okay. And then take your legs out in front of you, and we're just going to inhale, lift the arms, and exhale, fold forward. Just start to bow down. And then roll the hands back up. And exhale, bow. And again. And take one more. Now this time when you inhale and you lift up, I want you to sink your shoulders, opening up through your chest, flex your feet. And exhale, hinge forward from your hips and just start to reach out like you're giving a hug. From there, you can take your fingertips down either side of the legs. And then you're going to roll your shoulders back and take your heart forward towards your feet. So like your heart is sending love to your feet. If this is enough, stay here. If it feels okay to your body to round down, if your back doesn't protest about it, then you can inhale and elongate, and then exhale and start to round down. Taking your head down towards your knees or your chin down towards your shins. You can use your feet to hold yourself into place, But I want you to only think of the feet as an anchor. They're not there as tools for torturing yourself into a pose. That's usually how we get injured. So we just use them only as an anchor. Take another couple breaths here in Paschimottanasana. Beautiful seated forward fold. And then now lift the hips, or sorry, lift the head, lift the heart. And then I want you to take your hands out to one side, swing the legs out, and then bring yourself so that you can sit up into your shins. And we are going to do something from the shins, so you need to come up to this. And then once you're here, I want you to keep your big toes together, but then take your knees wide. Okay, just take your knees out as wide as they will comfortably go. And then start to walk your hands forward. So some of you have done this with me before. This is an iliopsoas stretch. So this is one of the best stretches that you can do for your lower back. So what we do here is we actually do a stretch where we feel this more on the inner thigh, but we're actually feeling it on a muscle that connects to the lower back, over the hip, and to the leg bone. So we're going to start to push back. So we bring the bottom back towards the heels. Now, as you're here, hopefully you start to feel a stretch into your inner thigh. If you want to go lower, you absolutely can. But the thing I want you to avoid is this sort of lurching forward where then we put a lot of pressure into the lower back, because that's what we want to avoid. So keep your bottom back towards your heels, the knees wide, and just that gentle pressure back. So we feel that inner thigh stretch there. And some people also feel this right on up into the lower back. So just breathe, breathe. And lift the head, lift the heart, walk up into your hands, and then gently draw your knees in. And then from here, we're just going to take a normal child's pose. So we're going to extend the arms out, taking the forehead down. And I want you to lift the head and take your arms and lift the arms up and take your arms wide so that they're going wider than shoulder distance. So if you're using a mat, the hands are coming off the mat onto the floor. And then cross your right hand over your left. So you're just taking this really long stretch, like a cat stretching out its foreleg. Head comes down between the upper arms, and we just shift the weight a little bit into that left hip. So we get this beautiful lateral stretch here. And then take that left hand back, left over right. Same idea, shift the weight a little bit into the opposite hip. Take the hands back. And then slowly start to roll yourself all the way back up to center once you've taken the hands back up. And then same thing that we did to get up, we're just going to take the hands down to one side, extend the legs out in front, and then start to make your way down onto your back. And you can do that either with your knees bent or your legs extended. And once you're on your back, the same. You can either keep your knees bent with your feet on the floor, which is actually changing my mind. So when you do come down onto your back, I want you just once to hug your legs. Just give them a nice squeeze. And take your feet down. And then now you can either keep them bent or extend the legs out. Just depends on what it feels like to your lower back. And relax your hands, relax your shoulders. Close your eyes. And just sigh out a few times. Let your natural breath take over again. And feel your eyelids go heavy over your eyes. And feel your whole body just starting to melt down. Taking nourishment from this earth, from this moment of rest. And then from here, just deepen your breath. And just feel your lungs. And then draw some movement back into your fingers and into your toes. And from here, take either a stretch or just whatever feels good to you before you roll onto one side. And bring yourself all the way back up to seated. And when you come up to seated, let's just do one last movement. Take an inhale, lift the arms. And exhale, bow down to this beautiful earth. And you get to take that stretch through your back once more. And then tuck the chin in towards your chest. Take the hands into prayer. And gently bow, honoring your body, your light, your practice, and all that is. And thank you all so much for coming this evening. That's it for the class tonight. We are back at the same time, same place next week. I think that's it. I don't think there's anything else to say. I can show you, the dogs were very well behaved tonight. So one of them is sleeping. You can see him there. The other's actually behind. You can just about see that she's behind that blanket. I'm glad. Okay. Well, thank you all so much for coming, and just, yeah, have a beautiful week ahead, and maybe see you next week. And that's it. I'm gonna go mourn my chicken now. Yeah. Okay. See you guys. Thank you.